Welcome back, everyone. My name is Holden, and I am your host for the Youth Unmuted podcast. This is a team-led podcast with the Boys and Girls Club of Benton County, where we share unique stories that relate to today's youth. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2, where we get to continue our discussion with Coach Deifel. Let's get right into it. All right, Coach Deifel, so can you tell me, how do you empower your athletes, not just to perform on the field, but to use their voices off the field?
Oh, that's a good question, especially coaching female athletes.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest growth areas that they have when they get to us is learning how to use their voice and fighting for themselves, fighting for their teammates, fighting for their team, those type of things. So, I think that all of it's connected. When you're confident on the field, you're confident off the field more often than not. If you're confident in the classroom, there's so many things that cross over. And so for us, I think it's just empowering them, to be themselves, to speak from their heart, to fight for the things that matter to them. And even though I think the tough thing is in society, I guess, it still kind of reinforces women to just kind of go with the flow or not maybe cause waves and so, we gotta, kind of go against the grain there and fight for the things that really matter to us. I think it's too that, I think it's the mindset sometimes of path of least resistance, or you want people to you want to please people. And I think sometimes in that you lose a little piece of yourself. And so just making sure that they're true to themselves and speaking from the heart with their teammates, I think you get more respect from them than maybe skirting around the honest truth and not being real with them, And so I think there's so many lessons on the daily in different situations. I'm just trying to mentor them through that. And
Yeah, absolutely. And something you touched is like you said, as women. And so this episode is women do sports too. Mm-hmm. So do you think there's a part of you that you have to teach them differently, or there's specific challenges that you face or your team faces just because of the gender of you guys?
Oh yeah, I think there's challenges always with the gender of how it's perceived. And so, I do think so. I think sometimes there's misconceptions or stereotypes that, if I'm mean, I'm the B word, instead of intense or demanding, or I want things. No, I would be, that. I think for our players, if they play with passion, they're going to get a little bit more scrutiny than a male player playing with passion. Well, own it. Let's go for it. Those type of things. I think that for me, I think something that's been hard is I think I'm kind. Mm-hmm. I think that some people are like, oh, she's so nice. I think when I got hired, they're like, she's too nice to coach in the SEC. Well, nice is not naivety. Nice is how you treat people. Being kind is how you treat people. It doesn't make me less competitive. It doesn't make me less stringent to standards. And so I think that there's stereotypes that women always have to charge through, I guess, not hurdle or dance around. No, you charge right through them because I think that, there's a lot of things. I'm also a mom. And so there's, I'll go recruiting and I'll get the questions of, well, who has your kids? Well, my husband does, You're not asking the male coaches. So you're constantly fighting just, things that aren't necessarily, people don't know better, maybe. I don't really know. There's just societal norms or stereotypes that kind of reinforce women not being strong and in a leadership role. And I don't ever want our players to feel that. Yeah. And so the sooner I can encourage them, and I have males on my staff that they, show them how women should be treated and empowered, and making sure that they're strong and confident. And I think that that's huge. If it's just the little group that we have of our softball team, it's going to spill out onto people that watch us. And so we're just doing our part to make sure women know to be strong and confident and have their voice and fight for the things that matter to them.
Yeah, really allowing them to kind of like push those societal norms and just be you, you know? That's awesome. Absolutely. I want to get to maybe a little lighter thing.
Okay.
And something we usually do on each episode is play a little game.
Okay.
So this one is called Fast Pitch Rapid Fire. So this one's going to be just for you. If you're ready for that.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. If you don't know how the game works, I'm going to ask you these questions and then just as fast as you can. First thing that comes to your mind, we're going to go to the next one, all right?
I'm nervous.
No, you got this.
Okay.
It's going to be great. Ready?
Okay.
Go-to motivational phrase.
Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Pitch you love to call the most.
Change up.
SEC rival that brings out the best in your team.
Tennessee.
Favorite postseason moment.
Oh, shoot. That's tough, Holden. I'm going to go back. Okay, I have two. Can I do two?
Yeah.
Okay. It's cheating.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Our first super. So in year 3, we clinched our first super at home. We hosted regionals, and I still remember the play. I remember the pitch. I remember the play and the celebration. I still have that picture just embedded in my mind. And so that was huge. That was a big first for our program. Oh gosh, as I'm talking, I'm like thinking of more. Okay, shoot. Last year's come from behind win in our regional game was huge. So I love those moments, you know? And so we were playing Oklahoma State. We were down to like literally our last out. And Ella McDowell, a freshman All-American, third baseman for us. She, I think, had a 2-strike count, hit a ball to tie it. And it was just like everyone just erupted. But in that moment, so there's so many things. Sorry, this is supposed to be rapid fire. Okay. In that moment, you could feel in our dugout that we were going to do it. And you could feel it from all of our fans. We have incredible fans.
Yes.
And they are so loyal and so supportive. And you could just feel a change in the entire atmosphere of like, this is happening. Like, that's really stinking cool. You know, I can think of more. But,
no, that's amazing.
So much for rapid fire.
We're going to pretend that was quick and we're going to move on. Okay. Make it look fast. Sorry. No, you're fine. Favorite ballpark snack?
Popcorn.
City you love traveling to for games?
Oh, I'll say Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay. Favorite team tradition?
Winning.
That's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one. Hype song that always works.
Oh my gosh. I don't got a good one for that.
That's all right. One word to describe your coaching style.
I can tell my oldest, his hype song that always works.
Yeah.
Reread.
Yeah.
Okay, that one.
A lot of teams, he always
that's his go-to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. One word to describe your coaching style.
Encouraging.
Rain delay activity of choice.
Watching softball.
And favorite sports movie.
Oh, shoot. What's my favorite sports movie? A League of Their Own.
Oh, yeah. Good one. Sounds like we have Coach Deifel's son in here getting to listen on.
I found a friend.
Sounds like he knows his mom pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. So that was awesome. Appreciate that. We're going to learn the rules a little better next time and just go a little rapid fire, but it's okay.
That was like slow fire.
No, that's fine.
Slow burn.
This is all about getting to know you, so that was great. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. What challenges do female coaches still face today that aren't talked about enough? So I know we kind of mentioned that, but just like anything specific that you just feel like is just overlooked and not talked about.
I do think that women's sports in general, I think the challenges that women coaches face are like a microcosm of like women's sports in general, of not having the exposure and the full support. So like we don't have a full pro league yet, you know, like we're working towards that. And so when it starts, you start to like fight for yourself, or even when it comes to contracts and things like that. I think that there's still a lot holding back the women's side of sports. And so I think that, you know, if a lot of the rules that just came in place kind of pushed us back, but I think when it comes to filling stadiums. Well, our stadium's full now. Let's figure out how to expand our stadium. Those things that just can continue to grow the women's side of the game. I think can also be reflected in women's coaches.
Yeah, for sure. We need to make that stadium bigger.
Yeah, let's do this.
Get more fans.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. So a lot is talked about like your coaching style and how it has made your team so successful, not only like as a team as a whole, but also like those individual players. So what has been your biggest accomplishment? Like what means the most to you that if you have acquired, your team has acquired at U of A?
Well, I think that our players know that I believe in them. And I think that they know that we as a staff believe in them, that we chose them. And I think when you feel invested in and believed in, there's just so much that can come of that. It's like everyone wants to be believed in and valued and all of those things. And so I would say that's been the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It does. Hey, this is just however you take it works for me.
I think the biggest thing is when you believe in them, they start to see more in themselves than they thought was possible. And I think that's what our program has done. I believe in this place. I love Arkansas. I believe in where we're going. I believe in what we do. And I love who I get to do it with. And so when you believe in something wholeheartedly and you love what you do and you love who you do it with, and everyone feels that and everyone also shares in that sentiment, then you go places that you never thought were possible and you make your players see things that weren't possible. And so I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah. You care about coaching, but what it sounds like is at times it's bigger, or all the time it's bigger.
It's always bigger. Yeah, it's always bigger than the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So next question. If you had one piece of advice for young women, specifically young women in sports, what would it be?
Be true to yourself. Be authentic to you. That's when you're going to be your best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it. Women always will try to talk themselves out of it or think like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Go for it. You never know. I think women are superheroes. So Absolutely. Like legitimately superheroes. And I think that they can handle way more than they give themselves credit for. You handle whatever is on your plate, and we have a lot on our plate. And so I would say go for it.
Yeah. What was your biggest go for it moment? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but like something in life that was just like, I'm going to take this risk, and it worked out, or maybe it didn't, but like, what was your biggest go for it moment?
I think it was the series of taking the head coaching job at Maryland. Okay. I never aspired to be a head coach. I love coaching. I don't feel like I have to be in charge. I could be a really good assistant. I could be a really good follower, like I could be a leader. I can also follow really well. Mm-hmm. And so taking that first head job and then getting the call from Arkansas and thinking, I can do this, and just kind of betting on, I was married at the time. We got married and moved to Maryland for my first head job like 2 days later. And then we got pregnant with my oldest and moved to Arkansas. They hired me at 6.5 months pregnant.
Wow. And
I think it was one of those like, okay, Arkansas hasn't done it. We're taking over a program in the SEC. We're having our first kid, all of those things. And why not? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to bet on myself. And so
that was one of those times where it was definitely successful.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
Yeah. Super, super proud of you for that. And so growing up, did you have a specific woman mentor in your life, or did you kind of carve your own path?
I think yes and no. My mom's really like one of the strongest people I know. My sister also. And she's my older sister. So I got to see my mom carve her own path, which is amazing when you can see that. And she's so strong, and she's not afraid to be who she is. She's opinionated. She's always wanted everything for my sister and myself. And so to see her fight for us and carve her own path, I think is really empowering. And then my sister is also a softball player. She was a 4-time first team All-American at Fresno State, like incredible. I got to watch her compete. And so I had a front row seat to watching one of the biggest competitors. And so I they're my two biggest mentors, are like who to watch, who to want to be like, who to, you know, see what strong looks like.
Yeah. And it sounds like you had that firsthand like experience of, because you had those family members. Can you tell me a little bit about how your family legacy has kind of like built you up? Because you sound like your dad, your mom, your sister, I mean, even your husband was able to coach at like the college level. So just how is that kind of like legacy that you've like built around, like really just like allow you to aspire to be someone great?
Yeah, I think that if you're doing it right, you're always learning from who you're around. And I think that I'm really fortunate because I have such a strong unit in my family. My parents are divorced. They're two very different people, but they have always been so supportive of my sister and me. And so just having that unit, having my sister, having my husband, and just kind of knowing sports and what you get from that, and coaching and seeing the impact you can have on your players, and getting to see that firsthand from the people so close to me. And I think that's what it's all about. You get into coaching to impact, I think, you know, like you should be like, I know I did, but I've been watching a lot of this, like football happen in the last few days. I'm like, do you get into it to impact? I don't know. But you get into it to impact your players and to make them their best versions on and off the field. And I've gotten to see that from everybody close to me. And then they support me in that. And I think that's one of the best things of having such a strong family unit is you show up for each other, and they continue to show up and just support what we're doing. Like, this is theirs too. And so I'm really lucky, but that's what I know, I guess. That's what I know. That's what I've always been around with my family.
Yeah. And you said how like you're in, and hopefully every coach is in it, you know, to make that impact on their players, which I believe is so important. You know, like as someone who plays sports, like my coach's impact on me is a big role on who I am today. For me, I can name, like I had a former basketball coach, Coach Pasley. He really made like a big impact on my life. He moved to a different school because he had a kid, and, you know, he was always driving far for work. Mm-hmm. So it was just what worked best for the family. And like, you know, at first, like that was hard. And then like eventually, you know, like obviously we keep in touch. Like I'd come over for dinner. Like it's just super amazing. And yes, he made me a better basketball player, but even more, he made me a better person. And I can see that personal growth. And like when he was able to take like a step back and do what's best for his family, and I like felt that, like heard that loss in my life, I think that just shows how much of an impact he made on me, and I'm sure many other people on our team. And kind of like that's what coaching is about, is, you know, you're going to be able to be a coach of these players for so long, but you'll have those memories and like those connections with them like for a lifetime, beyond softball, beyond basketball, just beyond what you're being able to coach. So that's very impactful for you, and I'm sure some of your players feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, if I'm lucky enough, I will.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the best parts, is getting to go to their weddings and getting to hold their kids when they have them and they bring them back. And I think that's the piece, is getting to be a part of their lives forever.
Yeah.
Tell me about Coach Pasley. What was his coaching personality? Pasley, right?
Yeah.
So
Coach Pasley.
What was his coaching personality? Yeah. Like, why did you connect with it so well?
I think you and Coach, we call him Coach Paz. Okay. Coach Paz are very similar. I was just in junior high at the time, but before that, I feel like I had a coach who was kind of like, I don't want to say he was rooted in negativity, because he wasn't, but he was kind of just like more on like the strict side. And like, I think as a kid, and even now, I was very like an emotional person. And so I just remember like kind of like when I was younger, like when I wasn't being like supported, like it really like had an impact on me, like negatively, because when I'm being like struck down or like criticized, I believe everyone needs criticized, but like when it's constant, you know, I think it doesn't have as beneficial of an impact that, you know, being supported like can. And Coach Pass, he was kind of just the first person to like really like encourage you. You know, he was kind of new at coaching. We were like one of his first groups. So just being able to come with him and kind of like go through the ride together, you know, like there were times, of course, when I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I feel like there were times that he never let us show it. But like times when he was like, I don't really like know 100% what's going on because I haven't been put in this situation. But he was very like open and honest to us about that.
he pushed us every day. We're running a lot, which, you know, is not fun as a player, but like you could see how it translated. We did stuff like he prepared us for now. And that's something that I see is like basketball is what I'm talking about. And we're a man school. Like we played defense, we played man. But coming in, like we kind of have length. Like I'm 6'2", and a lot of my team is tall and lengthy. And he kind of introduced like the 1-3-1 to us, and just like learning how to play that. And he worked with me like specifically to like play the top and like trap and stuff. And like that just directly correlates, because now for the first time since I can remember, like we're a zone team. Like we're playing the 1-3-1, and you can kind of just see how like he saw that in us. He knew that, like, you know, he maybe knew, but he knew this is what worked. And we were able to just go with that. And like it was hard at first, because when you change defenses, like, you know, or like different plays, like it can be hard. But we stuck through it. He stuck with us, and we made it work. But just off the court, you know, he was also there for us. I was able to job shadow my 10th grade year. I was in a child and growth development class, and I got to job shadow, and he was just the first person that clicked to my mind automatically. And just seeing the way he interacted with kids outside of the basketball court, like even just his PE kids, just like how much fun, like the way they'd always like run up to him, you know, they felt safe around him. It was just super, super impactful to me, because he's definitely the type of guy that like I want to see in myself when I'm older. Yeah. Because for him, basketball was very important, but he knows that there is something bigger. And becoming, for him, it was young men, just like empowering us to become successful young men was very important to him. And that shows, because now that we're his first team, it's not like we're all seniors, you know, kind of just all of us like finding our own personalities and just getting ready to carve our own path. For me, I can just see a lot of myself in him, because a lot of people that I know like know this, but I'm growing up without a father. My mom is a single mother at home, so that male impact is something that I've like lacked over the years. And so coaching staff is important to me, because that is like majority. I see my coaches every day, you know, like we have practice right now. We're in season 6 days a week. We'll come in on Sunday night to practice. We have Saturdays off. But I see them all the time. And my coaches now, even though Coach Paz is not there, my coaches now, I still think they do a great job of like giving me that like beneficial impact. And I think that in a way, players can also impact their coaches, which is something I was going to ask you about later, and we'll get to that. But like, I also want to have an impact on coaches that like, I'm not the same as everyone else. My teammate is not the same as everyone else, just because everyone goes through their own life, like their own struggles, their own highs and lows, you know, like everyone experiences those trials and tribulations. So just being able to kind of, you don't have to change like 100% for every person that you go through, but just being able to learn, like I said, like being a good leader, just being able to get to know your team's strengths and weaknesses can really allow everyone to thrive. And that's a word they use a lot that I like. Like being able to thrive, I think is something super important. So yeah, that's a lot. I know it went out in a lot of different ways, but Coach Paz is very important to me, and I appreciate him. And as you can tell, he's made a big impact on my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And your mom's a superhero.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah, let's talk about that. I absolutely love my mom. You know, it's just me and her at home. She's a single mother. And for her, like, I look back and I get to see like everything that she sacrificed for me, because she has a full-time job. You know, growing up, she had to support us. And so like she'd have to support us, like get home, make dinner, ball practice. Like I played football all the way until my 8th grade year. So it was like, get ready, go to football practice. Football is over. Now it's time for basketball, you know? So, and then basketball is over, time for baseball. It was, I grew up playing like, you know, a lot of sports like year round, and she'd constantly just like sacrifice, you know, her extra time, even like the time she didn't have, to make sure that I was successful, make sure that I always had the gear I needed, you know, the food on my table. So she has been she is definitely my biggest cheerleader. She's at every single game. If it's an hour, 2 hours away, you know, she'll be there. If I am with the Boys and Girls Club and I'm speaking at a place in Atlanta, she'll be there. I was in Dallas a few years ago. She was there. You know, she's super like motivating to me, because like I just like, she didn't grow up with the best home life, but yeah, she's providing me with the home life she never had. But like, women can be superheroes and women are superheroes. Yeah. And single moms, you see it a lot. Coaches, there's just so many different examples of ways that women have stepped up. And for me, like my mom, firsthand experience, firsthand knowledge, I get to see how that woman is a superhero to like not only me, but other people every day, the people she works with. My friends, being social is just like kind of who I am. So I constantly have people over, like she's going to games and talking to people. Like that's just a lot, you know, for someone who has to work, who has to deal with me. I'm not fun all times. Just deal with me.
I can't imagine.
No, no, just it's a lot. And I can see that. So I'm just super grateful for her and everything that she's done because she's a superhero. And so that's super awesome to see.
Well, I'm sure she's amazing because you're amazing and she raised you. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
I
it's
get
reflected.
it
You're reflected in her. So
yeah,
her work's reflected in you.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, I get exactly what you're saying. And then I mentioned earlier, like the impact that I wanted to have on my coaches. What do you see your players impacting you, and kind of like how have they maybe changed who you wanted to be, or just like a specific example?
Yeah, they impact us every year, every day, every year. I think every team's different, and every individual on every team's different. And so I think that for us, it's, you know, we're not stuck in our ways. And so it's like they make us better every day. And so, yeah, I think they impact us on and off the field. They all get my heart. They get my whole heart, the whole, you know, from day one. But yeah, they become part of our lives. You know, they become part of their lives.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the big thing. And for us, we say this in recruiting, but it's like anytime we bring someone into our program, they help raise our kids. You know, our kids are around all the time, and we want to put good people around them and around us. And so, yeah, they impact us all the time. They're part of our crew. They're part of our family. They help raise our kids. Our boys look at them as the strongest athletes they know. Athletes, not women, but athletes. They're strong women, but athletes.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. You talk about your boys a lot. Like, what is the lesson that, like, growing up, being an athlete, you know, you have 2 boys, but like, what is a lesson that you want them to learn and that you've kind of just instilled to them about maybe just like growing up and like pursuing sports just like as hard as they can, because like, your family, it's all been about sports, but like also just, you know, being who they are, finding, they're pretty young now, but like kind of just like being a leader. Like I know for me, it is also, my coach has 3 daughters now. And so like for me, when I talk to them, you know, I kind of like just be upbeat, you know, let them know like the sport is like what I love. So, you know, I assume you have players that you can, like, they do great with your kids. And like, that's why you're happy to have them around them. And like, you can just see the lessons that they teach just because they are younger and they're like closer to the age. So like, what lessons do you just want your boys to have as they grow up in a time?
So many.
Yeah, around these athletes.
Well, I think the first thing we all want our kids to know is that the sport's just something that they do. It's not who they are. And so just to be really happy with who they are within the sport or around the sport. And so I think that's the big thing. I think it's an avenue to learn so many things about life and to meet new people and learn how to work with different people and all the lessons that come. And I think that reveals who you are, but it's not who you are. You know what I mean? And so I think that, and then I think the other thing for our boys, and probably just because we're, you know, at the years 10 and 8 and we're but to push through the hard. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of challenges. There's failure, there's losing, there's striking out, there's missing the game-winning shot. Those things that just build character and give you the chance to grow and learn and become better. And so to use it just as an avenue to be your best and to push through the hard. That's the big thing. It's going to be hard, and that's where you really grow. Yeah,
adversity. That's something Coach Pat has said to us all the time, was adversity, you know, push the adversity. That's super important.
Are you going to coach when you grow up?
So I thought about it. Coaching was something that I thought about as a career. With all of this, you know, I also see a lot of like the business side of everything, because, you know, we're just working like with sponsors and like board members and stuff. And I've kind of fell in love with that. I just like getting to talk to people and meet around. But coaching was definitely, or still is, I guess, like my number 2. You know, maybe if I get to college, I'm like, I don't think business is for me. I think coaching is where I'd go. And for a while, it was definitely my number one.
Or some kind of broadcasting
Yeah.
or something like that.
Possibly.
Or maybe you can blend those.
Yeah, I coach business broadcasting.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll get it started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Coach Deifel, I just want to thank you so much for being able to and come on Youth Unmuted. You're very insightful. I know that's coming from an 18-year-old senior, but I can definitely see like why your program is so successful and why I know your boys are just going to be successful young men. So yeah, I just really appreciate you being able to take the time. Good luck to you this season. Good luck to all the Razorbacks. And I hope you guys have an amazing year. And I hope you took something away today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the most enjoyable podcasts I've ever done.
Yeah. Well,
that flew by. And thank you for being patient with me, the rapid fire, not being so fast.
Hey, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Holden.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, for sure.
Very
I'll definitely
cool.
have to come catch a game.
Yeah.
More than one.
Okay.
Thank you all for tuning in. Again, I am Holden, your host. Please like this video and subscribe to Youth Unmuted wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, peace.